Hey friends, so in this video, I want to share how I stopped using a traditional bank and moved to a brokerage account that has saved me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, has made me thousands of dollars in interest and dividends, is incredibly convenient, has automated all of my wealth building habits and systems, and really sits at the center of everything I do with my money. And I think it's the most slept on account. And I often think that that's because they don't offer commissions for affiliate links. So you don't hear people talk about this account as often. And so maybe there's a little bit of bias there from people that are usually talking about high yield savings accounts. I don't know. But I want to share with you this one, and that is the Fidelity Cash Management Account. And I think it is the king or queen of all types of cash management products. And I want to share with you why and how I use it in this video and how you might be able to. And I'll share my exact setup. I still have a traditional bank that I keep just a little bit of money in, and I'll tell you why later so that you can kind of make the decision on what's right for you in your situation. But the main thing that I want to highlight from a mindset perspective before I get into the features and how this all works is my focus on wealth building is always about how you can kind of squeeze out and maximize every single dollar. And when it comes to banks, I don't like the idea that a bank is profiting heavily off of money that I have sitting there. And if you are at a traditional bank today and you're not getting, let's say about a 4% interest rate on your money, I won't say they're stealing from you, but they're certainly not giving you the money that you deserve for your money. And that's the way banks make money. They take in deposits from customers and then they loan it out at a higher rate, and so they're making all of this profit between what you're not getting and what they're getting in loans. And oh, by the way, they get cheap money from the government that they also loan out. So my goal is to not give my money freely to the banks and find banks and services that are more willing to share in the profit of using my money for their business. And so that's why, and that's kind of the mentality that I go into this with, is how do I maximize money for myself and not banks? So I would implore you, if you are at a traditional bank today, and no matter how large your account or small, whatever is, if you're not making about 4% on your money, maybe not today, but in the next week, look into getting into a high yield savings account and moving your money to a place where you start earning a little bit more money, because it all starts to add up. And also be looking for places that don't have fees. So Fidelity and the cash management account kind of does this all for me, and I found it to be the best of all of them. So let me walk you through why I think so, and what this whole thing is. So here's the things that we'll walk through. So you get some of the highest interest rates, better than any individual bank is ever going to give you, in money market funds that you never actually have to trade or invest in. It happens all automatically for you. It converts all of this money into cash automatically. You get paid dividends on the first of every month. So whether it's a dividend or interest, that money's automatically there. You don't have to deal with setting up direct deposit or any other requirements that banks have. There are no fees ever. There's incredible ATM features we'll get into, like how I never pay ATM fees when I'm traveling internationally. We'll talk about how to auto save and invest, and how you can set up multiple cash management accounts to set up rules where you transfer between accounts, and they stay up to date with security, with two-factor authentication and other things. So I'll get into all of these as I open up the website here. Okay, so we're on Fidelity's cash management account webpage. And so let me start getting into why I made the switch from a traditional bank over to Fidelity. The first thing I love is that when I have this account and I treat it like a bank account, it basically ensures that I receive nearly the highest interest rate on cash that I have sitting around. And because they're a brokerage, they're able to do things that a traditional bank can't offer. The first one is that I can have this cash invested in a money market fund. And the amazing thing about this is that through their automation in this account, even though it's invested in a money market fund, I can use that money like cash. So let's say I write a check or I do anything that a traditional checking account does, that money is automatically sold out of the money market to cover my service. So basically it operates just like a regular checking or savings account, but it has some key benefits. The biggest benefit for me is that it has nearly the highest interest rate from a market perspective. So I'm not dependent on a single bank offering me an interest rate. And what happens with a lot of traditional banks is they'll have promotional offers where they offer a high interest rate, but then that interest rate goes down over time. Or they'll have a requirement like, you have to set up direct deposit and you have to do certain amounts of debit card transactions, and they add all of these hoops to you getting some interest on your money. Well, with this, I don't have to do any of that. I just automatically get a high interest rate on the cash that I have. Not only that, but then the money market rates that the market follows are going to beat a traditional high interest savings account percentage. So, for instance, on today, January 30th, this is trading at 4.03% on your cash. If you look at high yield savings accounts today, it's at about 3.8%. And I don't have to do any extra work or do any hoops for it. And I don't have to worry about a single bank decreasing the amount of interest that they decide to give me. So, one thing to know about money markets is that they do carry an ever so slight amount of risk. And so, let me click into this. What you can see is that this money market fund is SPAX, SPAXX, which is their ticker symbol. And it has different investments inside of it. And so if we go to composition, you can actually see what a money market fund is made up of. Primarily, it's all made up of US Treasury bills and US government based securities, which are short term, liquid, and highly secure. Because the whole point of a money market fund is that it is an incredibly secure, cash like investment that provides a really modest return. The only thing that I would call out is that in 2008, in the Great Recession, the Lehman Brothers money market fund actually started to lose a little bit of value compared to the dollar. And that sent shockwaves through the financial system because there's this assumption that a money market can never lose money. And so that was a big incident that was known as breaking the buck. So if you are interested in financial history, you can look that up and read more about it. The key thing was that it was 2 to 3 cents on the dollar that it tracked. So a very small amount of return lost. And any money that a retail investor did lose was made whole. And so really, for me, I don't see any real concern with the idea of having my cash in a highly conservative money market. The other thing to know is that there's almost $6 trillion worth of money put into money market funds between the US government, banks, and companies, and retail investors and professional investors. And so for me, a money market is a highly secure, great option for earning a little bit of extra money on my cash. Now, there's another option as well. So if you didn't want to go with the money market cash equivalent, you can go with the FDIC insured amount. And so what the FDIC is that ensures that you will never lose money if you make a bank deposit. It actually insures up to $250,000 per account that you have. The cool thing with Fidelity is that because they're a brokerage, they work with many banks within this offering to store your money. And so they actually advertise that you can have up to $5 million protected in a single account. And they do that because let's say you go above $250,000, well, then they will send the remaining money to another bank so that the account in whole is always protected. And so if you're one of those people out there that is sitting on $1 million in cash that you're wanting to make sure is FDIC protected, one, good for you. Maybe I'll set up buy me a coffee or something and you can give me a tip. But this is always an option. It just does give a lower interest rate, and for me, it's never been worth it given the high amount of security that I have in a money market. Again, I'm not your financial advisor, and so you have to make your own decision. But the cool thing is that these basically operate like cash either way. So this basically becomes your checking or savings account that is earning a competitive rate, and you don't have to do anything for it. So then the next thing I love is the ATM fee reimbursement, and this has saved me probably thousands of dollars. So you never pay an ATM fee, no matter where you are in the world. And so if I'm traveling overseas, I will just use my debit card from this account and I'll put it in an ATM. I've been to Japan, over Europe. It doesn't really matter. And so for me, that's absolutely incredible. If you ever have tried to convert currency at an airport or something, you know that you pay a ridiculous fee for doing that. And now I'm able to go anywhere in the world, basically just withdraw money in the currency that I need, and I don't pay anything for it. The other cool thing is that there's no fees. And so there's no fee for account setup. There's no fee for having a checkbook and writing checks. There's no, keeping a certain amount of money in there. And so I never have to worry about fees in anything. And so between earning the best rate, having no fees, the ATM fee protection, that alone has saved me thousands of dollars on the one hand and earned me thousands of dollars on the other. But now I want to talk about personally why it's been amazing for my wealth journey from an automation perspective and what I can do within the Fidelity ecosystem. So I'm going to go to that next. So to show you an example of the power of automation that you can use in these accounts, here I'm looking at one of my cash management accounts, and I can set up recurring trades. So if there's a stock or index fund that I'll talk about when we get into investing more, I'm able to select how often I want to invest. And so maybe I want to invest once a week. Maybe I get paid every week. And so then, on Friday, I'm going to invest a little bit of money. Or you have the option to invest every 2 weeks or monthly. You could also set up transfer rules over here on the right. So again, if you open up multiple cash management accounts, maybe one account I get my paycheck in, I set up a transfer rule to transfer money to the other one at a set interval. Okay, so then outside of automating investing and transfers between accounts and being able to open up more cash management accounts to handle however you decide to budget, there's a ton of really seamless banking services that you can do straight from the website. So for instance, you can set up bank wires, you can do automatic bill pay if you wanted to do a bill pay directly from the Fidelity side of things. Check writing is free, so you can order a free checkbook. Same thing with your ATM and debit card. You can easily set up a direct deposit, so it's just like a regular bank account. You get a routing and checking number. So really, for me, it handles everything that a bank does seamlessly, but then adds even more with the options to be able to invest. And the ability to be able to open up multiple accounts makes automation so incredibly easy. Now, the only thing I will say, and I forgot I was going to mention this, is I still do have a traditional bank. Why do I do this? Two reasons. One is there's no way to deposit cash into these cash management accounts. So if you are someone that gets paid in cash in any way, or you just want the flexibility of being able to deposit cash, it's still helpful for me to have like a local branch that I can go into. And so I keep so little money in these other bank accounts that I don't really have to worry about, what interest I'm getting on the money. And, it still keeps the convenience of having a branch when I need it. The other thing is that if you do services like Plaid, which is an ability to kind of automatically transfer money, Fidelity doesn't play well with Plaid from what I've seen. And so I keep a Chase account open that still allows me to do some of those things. But again, this is my primary go-to. And so that's the only reason that I would keep a traditional bank account open. And if I didn't do those things often, then this would be my go-to all the time. So to put all this together, just real quickly, what this can look like, and like the system I've built for myself is, you can have a paycheck come in, and that automatically gets deposited into your first Fidelity Cash Management account. It's always free to open more cash management accounts, and so you can set up rules to really easily transfer from one CMA to another. So maybe you create one that goes for savings. You have a third one that maybe is for investing money that you want to invest. You can always open up more for other goals that you have. Also, because Fidelity is such a large brokerage, a lot of retirement accounts are done through Fidelity. So you might even have an employer that uses Fidelity services for like a 401k. So it's easy to see that all in one place. It's really easy to transfer money from a cash management account to different retirement accounts. I even put a health savings account in here because I kind of view that as a retirement account because of the tax benefits. But this is a really powerful ecosystem that you can build, and it's all on the back of the benefits of a cash management account. Other comments I would make are they have really good security. So I've seen them upgrade their security protocol over time. They now do two-factor authentication. I think you can use a Microsoft token. Not sure if you can use Google or not, but that gets away from using a cell phone for two-factor authentication, which is important. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. And then I do also appreciate their commitment to what I see as like helping younger investors learn how to invest. They have a lot of cool, like, free programs. So that wraps my review of the cash management account. Like I said, I have been using Fidelity for well over a decade, and I've converted completely to using a cash management account as my primary bank account. And like we went through with all these features, I think it's an incredibly powerful tool that helps streamline a lot of what people are looking for. Like I said, I think it's the most slept on type of bank account. They don't give any commission for signing up for accounts. Maybe that's why people, don't recommend it more. But for me, it's a huge benefit, and so it's one I would definitely recommend. I'd love to hear, what banks you use in the comments, or if you use Fidelity today, or if you have questions about how to set up an account, feel free to leave me a comment and I'm happy to answer those. And, hopefully if you don't do any type of high yield interest banking today, maybe this video will inspire you to start earning some money on the cash that you have sitting around.